Intro music.
Overview narration. Overview narration.
My name is James,
My name is Joey.
and this is the Brothers Padre.
Oh boy, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's the best week of my life, James. It is so good to be a Padre.
Yay! Oh, sarcasm. Gotta love it. All right, so
Yeah,
not the best week.
Yeah, this is a rough one. Last time was a rough one. This is a rougher one. The roughest one?
This is the roughest week.
Oh,
We've had weeks we've been 2 and 4 before this year, but this one hurt. And should we just rip the Band-Aid off and
Talk about what happened last week? Yeah, let's just go over it.
I'm not trying to make this fun for everybody.
Okay, I love it when you try to make the thing that I put too much emotional value in my life funny.
So here it goes. 6 games this week. Starting Thursday, August 18th, the Washington Nationals came to town. The Padres lost the first 2 games because Josh Hader forgot how to pitch. We lost 3-1 and 6-3. The next 2 games, Josh Bell remembered to hit home runs. And then we won those 2 games both 2-1. We had a day off on Monday in which Juan Soto hurt his back riding a camel. Why? Because that's just the kind of year we've been having here in San Diego. And then the Guardians came to town, who I could say is not the same Guardians team we faced earlier in the year, although they have the same roster. We lost that game 3-1. And before that game started, Yu Darvish's wife had their 15th child, so he's not on the team right now. And we lost the final game of the week 7-0. The San Diego Padres, this week, the first game against the Nationals, squandered. An absolute brilliant starting pitching performance by Yu Darvish. 8-1, 8 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, 3 earned runs. Josh Hader came in and just biffed it. The second game of the week, we squandered a brilliant Blake Snell start. The third game, 2-1 victory. You and I were in attendance. Juan Soto and Josh Bell, both solo home runs, was all the runs we got. The next game, Sean Manaea pitched and Josh Bell 2-run homer. Those were the only runs we got. And that was it. And then we got 1 run against the Guardians. One against the Guardians on a little bloop single by Jay Cronenworth. And the final game of the series with the Guardians, Blake Snell gave up a bunch of runs and only barely made it past 3 innings, gave up 6 earned runs, and he said that he thinks he was tipping his pitches because all of his stuff was having the good movement they've been having when he's dominant. So, but only good thing is Josh Hader pitched that in that game as well and didn't give up a single run. So, and struck out the side.
So, obviously, if you watch the games, the big storyline, of course, is Padres are not without opportunity to score. However, we're doing a terrible job of scoring said people in said opportunities. We were 4 for 38 on these 6 games with runners in scoring position. 4 for 38.
Yeah, that's not terrible. That's atrocious.
I don't know, man. It's okay. What are your thoughts? Let's have a little therapy session. What are your thoughts about this? What are your feelings going forward? How can we fix this? Are you worried? Are you becoming a San Diego Seals lacrosse fan after this? Like, where are you at with everything? No disrespect to San Diego Seals.
I hate lacrosse. It's just hockey for rich kids. I don't know. I don't know. This is what I'll say. We have had trouble getting runners in all year. We are leading all the majors with runners left on base, and it's not even close between us and the second place person. I don't know if our hitting approach is different every time we go up to plate now with runners in scoring position. I don't know what's the deal. All I know is Bob Melvin came out and said this is the lowest point of the year. And I'm hoping that means today, on the day off in Cincinnati,
Kansas City. But who cares? Once you cross the Rockies, it's all the same.
This is true. Well, maybe it's because I can't remember. The last time we played the Royals was in 2002.
It's been a minute, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been 20 years. I forget that Kansas City's even a team.
Wow. The disrespect.
Anyways, other than they just love Eric Hosmer over there.
Right.
This just shows you what kind of a team the Royals are. Anyways, I can't even fathom that they're a team, but we're playing them. I don't know, man. I'm just so. I'm hoping Bob Melvin puts like the fear of God in them and they start shaking things up. We're going to see moves and shakes and whoever had the family day and let Juan Soto ride a camel. I don't know if he should be fired. Public apology. Something needs to happen.
Has not been confirmed officially that the camel causes lower back pain. But, I mean, it has to be, right? Come on. We saw the photos. We didn't see anything else from his life the past 2 days, so it must be the camel.
Exactly.
It is, how can I say this? The most confounding collapse that I think I've witnessed as a Padre fan in a long time. Last year was annoying, but we also had Vince Velasquez, Brent Detweiler, and Jake Arrieta starting for us this time last year.
Yeah, well, last year it was a compound of injuries.
Right.
Yu Darvish could never be healthy for more than 3 starts in a row. Just everything was going downhill. Ryan Weathers stopped pitching.
Right.
Well, and so I can't.
What's weird about this is that in the trade deadline, Preller did exactly what you and I wanted him to do. Make a better bullpen and really improve the offense. He 100% gave the pieces to potentially do that. And we just haven't seen it. Hader's been bad. And the offense has been, apart from Juan Soto, who just gets on base all the time, it really hasn't been. I mean, the fact of the matter is that we squandered the last 6 games.
We did.
Because this is a time for us to gain some distance from the Brewers in the 3rd wildcard spot. And we just didn't do it. We are now going to a very tough schedule the rest of the year. And if whoever is making the decisions, whether it's the Padres or this front office, I don't know. But like, there is something so disconcerting about seeing runners on scoring position and just feeling inside of yourself, oh, there's no way we run to score. And that's what happened. I was watching the game on Tuesday. I'm like, oh, there's someone on second. We're not going to score him. That was inside of my heart. It was like, we just can't. It's not going to happen because I had 4 for 38. It's so terrible. And it's not just a one per. It'd be something if like 4 for 38, but 24 of it was at bats for Jorge Alfaro. Right?
Exactly.
That's not what's happening. Everyone's not scoring. And it's just frustrating baseball. It's so frustrating because this is a team that should have the firepower. And it's just not happening. And it's so hard to put. Everyone wants to put blame on something. It's just so hard to do because AJ gave Melvin the players. Melvin is playing the players that Preller gave him. and they're just all not delivering. It's confounding, and like people have said, maybe we're due for a positive regression, right? Whatever, it's just we're getting unlucky or whatever. But just you don't want to find yourself in positive regression territory with better teams. You want to do that with bad teams so you can score a lot and you win a lot of games. And it didn't happen, and it's frustrating, and it makes me question if we can go far, because we can't. If this is the team going forward, we're going to miss the playoffs. We're probably going to miss 500 again. If this is the team, if this is the capability of the team going forward.
Yeah.
We have to go 14-22 just to get 500. And I think that's very possible. I think it's still, the talent's there. It's just, it has to be so dramatically different than what we saw the last 6 games. It has to be immensely different. It means that we get a double every so often. We get a cool single. We hit home runs. Multiple people hit home runs, right? Like, and that's not happening. And I think a lot of people on Twitter, like, it's all Junior's fault. This is not his fault. Yes, another impact bat would improve things. There's no denying that. But you can't tell me that this team is better than is just as good as the Washington Nationals from a pure talent perspective. At the very least, we should have split the Guardians, and we should have gotten 3 or 4 against the Nationals.
Well, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
The Washington Nationals had 2 All-Stars on their team.
Right.
They're both now Padres.
Right.
So there's just no way. Yeah. And also, like, we should have swept the Nationals. But Hader has decided to forget to pitch. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he says a mechanics issue. I think long term it's probably going to be fine, but now we just need him to be Josh Hader, not someone with weird mechanic issues. And I don't know. It's just, oh man, this Royals series is going to tell us a lot. Because if we struggle in Kansas City, we're in for a bad time.
Did you hear they got rid of Feisty Tom?
I did hear that. They destroyed him, is what I heard.
Yeah, apparently they introduced Feisty Tom into the dugout, and we won the first game with Feisty Tom, and then we had these struggles, and apparently somebody said, you can't just have a black cat, and apparently they destroyed him.
Yeah. The Padres have made their schedule way harder than it should be from this point forward.
Yes.
They didn't do business in versus the Marlins and versus the Nationals, and didn't split the Guardians. So I hate feeling this sense of like, oh, we might miss the playoffs again. Being a top 5 payroll in baseball, and we might miss the playoffs.
I know it really. It's undescribable, the feeling of that we might miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like I said, you said it correctly. This series, if Bob Melvin right now in Kentucky or wherever the Royals play is not laying into them, is not reworking how to do the account, we might see a completely drastic batting lineup.
Yeah.
We might see Machado leading off and Soto hitting 4th. All this stuff might happen because stuff has to happen, and he has to make it press upon these guys. Hey, when there's a runner on second and there's nobody out, and we don't score that runner, in fact, we load the bases and we get out. Like, if we load the bases in Kansas City with no outs and we get away without scoring any runs, I I might have to go join a convent. I don't know what I might have to go to the Himalayas, become a monk, ostracize myself, complete technology, just to avoid the shame.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to watching these games. That's where I'm at now. I'm not looking forward to watching baseball games just because I'm worried that they're just gonna make me embarrassed.
Yeah,
you know, and it's also like it. Oh man. But you have to believe. I mean, there is room to be optimistic because this team is so talented. Bob Melvin is a good manager. You just have to hope that this is not the real identity of the Padres. But I have to see it. I have to see them get a 2-out hit. When was the last time we got a 2-out hit? Was it when Eisenhower was a president? Like.
it felt like that. It did, in fact, feel like that. I don't remember Eisenhower being president. That's why it feels like that.
Oh, my goodness.
And all I got to say, the Padres better bring the bats and just beat up that team in Oklahoma. Just keep doing it.
One day you'll get the state right. You haven't yet.
Here's my problem.
Okay.
All right. They're in Kansas City.
Right.
Kansas City is in 2 states.
Yeah, that's true.
It splits between Missouri and Kansas. So if they can't make up their mind where they're at, I shouldn't be held responsible for knowing where they're at.
I didn't consider it that way, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Stunning
So
logic.
the Wyoming Royals.
Goodness. So, James, we play 3 against the Kansas City Royals at their stadium, and then 3 on the road also against the San Francisco Giants. What do you think our records are going to be after those 6 games?
Five and 1. This is going to be 5-1 because this has to be. If it's not 5-1, it has to be 4-2. If we split 3-3, or if we're losing record this week, it's over. I'm selling off my hats.
All of them?
All of them. Even this new one I'm wearing.
You are wearing a brand new hat, which is not an unusual occurrence, but to have new hats, that is.
I can't. I cannot. Again, we have to be 5-1. We have to sweep the Royals.
Yeah.
And we have to take 2 out of 3 from the Giants. The Giants are really feeling their age. When the youngest person wearing their uniform is their manager, you got a problem.
Say 5-1. I say it's 4-2. I say it's going to be. I think we're going to lose the first game of the Royals series, but then we're going to turn around, win the series, and then we'll win 2 and 3 against the Giants. Because I can't live in a reality and otherwise.
Yeah,
I can't allow myself to say 3-3 or anything worse than that. I can't. As I mentioned earlier, I have a fragile relationship with this sports team that takes up so much of my emotional life. So I cannot allow for darkness to creep in more than it already has.
Yeah. I was going to say, how would you suggest we turn it around?
Okay.
You did send me this text message.
Yes.
You suggested DFA Will Myers send Matt Batten and down, place a 4 on the injured list, call up Campazano and Rosario, and recall Beatty.
A few people recommended this on Twitter, and I thought it was an interesting idea, and I texted you that, and there's variations of this. So some people said that, like, you know, maybe we should, you know, Phantom IL Will Myers and bring up Beatty, right? Because you can't tell me Beatty's not better at bat than Will Myers, and I believe that. But Matt Beatty will probably give you more contact than Myers at this point.
Yeah, currently.
Right. He can play left and right field, and right.
The thing is, where
I don't know if it's that drastic, but I do think if that did happen, I don't think that's a negative. Alfaro is so bad. His at bats are so terrible now. They're really terrible. I can't stress this enough. They're so bad. Dude has swung at everything. He's swung at pitches that hit himself, that have hit the dirt in front of the plate. Dude loves to swing the baseball, and that just can't be the case. Campusano has issues. It's been discussed. But he hits a lot of home runs and has somewhat good play discipline. Is a shakeup needed? Is something like, we got to have new blood? Is that the way to do it? I don't know. But I would like to try some outfield substitute for Will Myers. And I would like to try something for catcher as well. And it's probably Cam Gallagher, which is crazy to say. But yeah, I would almost, I think you just can't have that. Alfaro struck out with a bases loaded like twice in the past 6 games. You just can't have that happen, right? Just put the bat on the ball. And you need to have that position with someone who can at least attempt to get a hit. And Noah's fine. He hasn't been great, but he's fine at the plate for a catcher. And so I would like to try something to at least to shore up some black holes in our lineup of just instant outs. And Alfaro, in my mind, is an instant out at this point. No one's afraid to throw him junk in the dirt because he'll swing at it. And so put someone there like Campusano who will put the threat of like, oh, this guy can actually make contact, can actually hit doubles. I don't know. I feel like that should be considered in all of this.
I mean, we're, at the end of this week, we're going to have our September call-ups.
The roster only expands like by 1 or 2, right? It's not by 4.
I think it's 3, right?
I need to look into it.
Goes from a 30-man roster to a 33-man roster, I thought.
I'll look it up. But I don't know.
I agree. Campusano, we need it. Something has to happen. I don't know if the problem with getting rid of somebody like Will Myers is he can play all the outfield positions competently and first base. So he has some value there. He's just not hit all year. And I love Will Myers.
Oh, yeah.
And and Matt Beatty, I am convinced he's still a Dodger. He was up here, he couldn't hit.
I'm not saying he's a good hitter, but I do know he has better at bats than Will Myers.
Maybe, and he can bunt.
Yeah.
So did you find out what the call up is?
It's expanded by one person and then under the new rules, which is helpful. That's not nothing.
It's one better than nothing, actually.
Right.
Mathematically speaking.
Were you a math major or something?
It's literally the least they could do. Oh, man.
I don't know. It's going to be a rough watch. But maybe not. Maybe Friday, guns a-blazing, Soto's back, hits a couple homers. You know, maybe Tim Hill back in Kansas City.
Yeah.
In some middle of America state that we can't remember.
Yeah, so
and he just feels good about himself.
Yeah, that sweet Ohio air. Just keep it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want us to have another. I want at least one more positive podcast before the end of the season. That's all I want. Just one more.
Just one more. Oh,
because this collapse is a little later than last year's collapse, which I appreciate on some respects, but I don't want it to continue.
This is where I'm at right now with this. I'm not calling it a collapse. It feels like we're stuck in second gear.
Yeah.
Because just where everybody else is playing right now, we can perceivably still make it to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Unless we just start losing every game like we did last year. Our pitching's too good for that to happen. It just feels like we're stuck in second gear. We just haven't been able to figure a way to get things moving fast enough. If this current team we are in hitting the way we're doing, makes the playoffs, we will be eliminated the first round.
Wow. And I thought you were the optimist of the bunch.
I am. I still say we make it to the playoffs.
There has to be a demonstrative shift in how this team hits the baseball for me to feel good about going deep in the playoffs.
Yep.
And it can happen. This team has hitters that can hit. Historically have been very good at hitting the baseball. But right now they're not doing that. So, but that's for us to see and for us to report next week, James. Until next time, go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby!